In How to Pre-Visualise Part 1, we visited the Lost Hotel of Lanzarote. We had a walk around and I talked you through my pre-visualisation of a number of images and a number of shots, paying particular attention to light, because light is king. It's why it is the second of my 7 building blocks of photography. It is so important. It's very important for you to learn how to pre-visualise it, because that's going to radically change your photography forever. Now, we went around, we shot some test shots. Here in part 2, we're going to go back to that location in the morning at the other end of the day, and we're going to reshoot most of those shots so that we can see how the pre-visualization stacks up against the reality. At the end of this video, we're going to just take a closer look at those, because I'm a scatterbrained numpty and I kind of sometimes went off at a tangent during the video, but you'll still get the idea, and we're just going to have a closer look. There is a shot in here which is bracketed in this video and then merged as an HDR. Now, I'm not talking the HDR hyperreal look here, I'm talking HDR, high definition, because there are times when the light doesn't match what our eyes see. Cameras and eyes see things differently, and in order to make it look real, make it look how our eyes saw it, you need to shoot a bracketed exposure and an HDR. I'll talk more about that in a minute. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them in the box below. We'd love to hear them. If you come up with an interesting question, who knows, we may even make a video to address it for you. As always, please like, share and subscribe, because that helps me make some more videos. And if you'd like to sign up to my newsletter, please do so, because you'll get some weekly free tips and you will never miss a video, because they're all available on my site for free and come with free accompanying articles. So let's get back to the Lost Hotel of Lanzarote and see how that previs panned out. Good morning, we've come back. I got here a couple of hours ago to see if there'd be a sunrise shot. There wasn't really, nothing much really happened. But now the sun is kind of in the sky, not quite as high as it was last night when we did the recce, but it is of course in the opposite side of the sky. Last night it was over there. So let's compare some of the shots I did last night with what's going to happen this morning, because I think this light's going to be an awful lot nicer. Light is so important. Light is the second building block of photography, because next to your thinking is the most important thing. It will make or break an image. It's really chilly up here this morning and it's quite windy as well, so I'm hoping the sound's all right. I've got my jacket on. I have got Dave's Olympus to go shoot with. Let's go see what we can find. I did a couple of shots here, but off camera I shot a few more images. As you can see, the light is kind of coming towards us and it looks really quite interesting. I quite like that blue eye on the wall. So if I was to replicate this shot here, taken at an angle with this shadow coming this way, let's just compare it. So let me reshoot it. I'm just going to check my composition to make sure I get it right. Where are we? I think I was over here somewhere. Probably something like that, with that bit of graffiti on the wall. Of course, the sun's just gone in. May have to wait for it to come back. The sun's going to come out any second. There's a blue hole up there in the sky. So let's get my shot ready. Here comes the light. Did you see that? Here it comes. Right, the composition is, I need to stand here. Look, it's just gone down again. You see how quickly, how fickle light is. Right, let's get that framed up. Let's just get that right and shoot that. Now look, the shadows are going in completely the opposite direction to the other one, but it's still pretty cool. Now the other shot I was interested in was looking through here with the eye, and we got some ruins going on back over there. I think it was something like this, because I think we're going to lose the light again in a moment, so I don't want to faff about for too long. There we go. Right, they're really very different, aren't they? In the shot last night, you see that haze that's coming in from in behind. It's because the light's coming from behind. It was coming this way and it was giving all that hazy mysteriousness, which I really, really liked. There's a few shots around the other side that I'm particularly interested in to try and replicate. Let's go take a look at those. Remember this? The little tricycle, where is it? Down there somewhere. The little kiddie's toy. Now, if we take a look at the test shot I did last night, you can see The back is really flat, it's dull. But you can even see in the video camera now, over here somewhere, we've got light coming in from behind, you see. I was right, I love it when a plan comes together. Let me just replicate this test shot because it's a rubbishy test shot, but I just want to kind of do something similar. It was somewhere, if I can find Mr. Poxon's back button focus, there we go. It was something like that. But the shot I think that will work best is going to be down low. I want to get close, low and wide. I want to be intimate with this little kiddie's trike, and I want the light in the background to break up that background. So I'm going to have to get down here, get really, really low. I think lay on the ground is probably going to be the answer. Yes, yes, there it is. You see how much stronger that little trike is? We've got the light behind it. Now, does that work best? I don't know. It might work better with the light to one side of it. Do another shot, because it's easy to reshoot when you're here. It's not easy to reshoot when you're not. So let's just see. Yeah, I much prefer that with the light to the side of it. I'm going to shuffle this way a little more. Shoot that baby. That's the one. That is so much more interesting. Now we've got just that little bit of light sneaking in from behind. Light is king. Light is the second building block of photography for a reason. You've got to look at light. And this is why recceing a location is so important. If you spend a little bit of time and a little bit of effort and you go and look around somewhere and you use this thing up here and you think about what's going on, it will make a world of difference to your photos, to your images. It's absolutely useless just going somewhere and rushing around going clickety clickety click and hoping that an expensive camera will do the job for you. I want to go and look at the ruins down there, that rubble heap which I spotted, because I think that could be very interesting. Let's go see what we can find. Do you remember from part one? I'm really interested by this little spot of graffiti up there on the wall, and then looking through you can see that little bit of light. Now I know the camera angle where you're sitting right now isn't perfect, but it is there. This is the test shot I did. You see, now that's what I was interested in. Now let's see if we can get the real one. I've got a little pile of rocks here that I'm going to have to try and balance on. They gave me all the trouble last night when I was trying to hold the iPhone. Now, why am I standing on something? It's because I want to get higher up. I want to see through to the wall beyond with the blue sky. I want to try and capture both. Now this side is in shade, that side is in sun. I know with the Fuji I could probably capture it. I'm sure I can with Dave's Olympus too. But I am going to bracket this exposure because I just think, I don't know, I may need to do an HDR or something. Who knows? I don't know. Right, let's just have a little fiddle. Oh, this is a tricky exposure, so shoot it. Let's see, what do we got? Check my exposures, because this is an unfamiliar camera. Right, yes, 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 good, good. So as you can see, I kind of like that. It's the juxtaposition between this big whole lump of like fallen masonry and concrete and twisted steel with that bit of graffiti, and then looking through, and I think the sunshine hitting the wall the other side. Maybe I'm getting a bit emotional, but to me it's kind of like a ray of hope, you know. There is more, but again, it's light, understanding light. When you look at something, think, what would it look like in this light? What would it look like in that light? Light is everything. Let's go take another couple of shots, see what we can find. Here we go, look. Remember all those squares from when we came out here and did the recce? Now, I got to confess, I was cheating slightly because I know that the light would come through there because we came down here on the workshop with the guys. Desi took this shot. She's the one who spotted the light on the roof in that one little thing. Can you see it? There it is. It's in this one here. The light is coming through. Light makes a world of difference. Let's see what we can do with that. So I'm just going to zoom this shot in a bit because here we go. I think we're just going to have a little block of 6. A little block of 6. That lined up. Let's just take the exposure down a bit. I'm not really worrying too much about settings because settings are not that important at the end of the day. But look at that. What do I mean by settings aren't that important? It's because mostly it doesn't make any difference. So I mean, you know, a 60th of a second at f8 is just the same as a 30th of a second at f11. If you're beyond the infinity point of a lens, it makes no difference. It's exactly the same thing, so don't get too hung up about them. Get hung up about light. Light is the one. So a quick look. Look at that. You see how it stands out from all the others. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, what else? Let's just go for a little wander on. Let's just keep looking, keep looking. Let's keep comparing with what we saw last night with what we've got now. Remember Mr. Eddie Murphy? He's on the side of the wall here. Now, last night the light was quite flat and it's going up and down now. You can probably see the light is changing, the qualities of light are changing. Learn to look for the qualities of light because they make a world of difference. Right now the sun's pretty much gone in and now it's coming back out again. Can you see how it's changing things? Even though the sun is coming from behind the camera now, as opposed to going against it, which is often the nicest light, it's still making a difference. It's giving things a little lift. It's putting in little shadows. It's creating little pools of darkness, like in here. The little textures that give that shape, they're all caused by shadows. It's doing it on the chair. It's doing it on that kiddie's bicycle that's lying abandoned behind me. I quite like that as a shot. I'm just going to take it. It's quite a wide shot. You can see pretty much exactly what it is in the video camera. In fact, if I step out that shot, it looks like that. Maybe I don't even need to take it, but I will. So, where am I? Somewhere here. The light's just gone down. Let's get her focused up. I kind of like the fence line to the left. Now I've learnt how to video. We got the little kiddie's, you know, bicycle abandoned there in the dirt, which it's all part of the scene. So, let's see what we can do. Shoot that. This to me something quite poignant about the blue sky, which is a happy thing, you know, and then what's lying around here. So I think you can see changing light makes an enormous world of difference. Look at light, think about what places would look like. These are your exercises, you know. When you're on the train, coming home from work, whether you're staring out the window at the doctor's, wherever you're doing it, just look at the light. Look to see the difference it makes. And when you're shooting, think, well, what will it look like if I go the other side? Because that is what gives you the experience and the knowledge to then be able to come to somewhere like this and sort of do a recce and think, okay, well, it's okay. There's some okay shots in the evening and, you know, you've seen those. But there's also some very different shots to be had later in the afternoon when the sun is in a different place, maybe. Take care. I'll see you next time. Okay, so see you next time came around a bit quick because we're in the office, because I just thought it'd be better to take a closer look at some of these images. So let's just have a quick look into Photoshop here and just do a little comparison of the pre-visualizations. Then we'll have a quick look at that HDR bracketed exposure. So here we go. Here was the evening shot that I took, the test shot, where I was talking about wouldn't it be better if the light came in through this doorway. That was in part 1. And then here we have the image that was taken in part 2 you just saw when the light came through. This is why pre-visualization is really important. It stretches your creative muscle, it's your imagination. This is really is vital for your photography. So that one kind of paid off. Now I'm not so sure about the position of the trike in this shot, and I'm not so sure about the stuff in the background. Maybe the shot with it to the right was better, but nonetheless, as you can see, pre-visualizing pays off. If you can pre-visualizing the way something will look, pre-visualizing if you can pre-visualize. We also had this shot here when we were looking through. Now I know I did the crisscross shot, which I completely forgot to reshoot in the video. I do apologize. But nonetheless, just because something is pre-visualized as how it may look in the morning doesn't mean to say it's necessarily going to work best, because here's the shot we took in the morning with the light coming from, you know, over my shoulder behind the camera, and then here's the shot we took in the evening during the recce, during the previz, and I think you'll agree shooting into the light is considerably more interesting than shooting with it. Yes, I know the composition is fractionally different. I prefer this composition with that little gap there. You may not, I don't know. To me that one's just a little bit too sterile somehow, but nonetheless the light coming through that sea mist just kind of brought that together. So I didn't really pre-visualize that, but it's just something that you can think about, because when you've learned to pre-visualize, you will know that if the sun is from here, shadows will go over there. Sorry, if the sun's here, the shadows will go over there, and if the sun's there, the shadows are going to come towards you or to the side. These are qualities of light, and it's vital you learn how to pre-visualize them. And then finally we had this image here. This was taken in the evening, the pre-visualization. The light is coming from this direction. It's kind of hitting onto our big lump of concrete just in here. And I was really interested by the graffiti and the hole in the wall, but I don't like the light. There's something about it, it's too hard, it's too harsh, and it's not very pleasant. So in part one, we shot this test and we were pre-visualizing, talking about how would it look in the evening, because the sun might hit that wall and light it up, and it might just look more interesting. So here is the shot taken the next morning, and I think, as you can see, look, this wall is dead. We've got these horrible highlights on this piece of concrete, but in this shot the concrete has kind of moved back into second place, because the dominant area is this diagonal which is kind of running through from, you know, the sunlight hitting this wall, the graffiti, and then this big heavy kind of domineering, frightening lump of rotting concrete which is going to fall. So this was shot as an HDR because I was using Dave's camera. I don't know Dave's camera, I don't know the dynamic range, so it's also important that you pre-visualize dynamic range. What will your camera be able to capture and what will it not? Then you shoot bracketed exposures for different places within that dynamic range. If we whip into Lightroom and just have a quick look. So here we have, let's move that out of the way so you've got a bit more space. Here we have these images here. So that one was shot about, what, 2 stops overexposed to the average that the camera meter was saying. So that was on a 25th of a second. Then we have one at the average. So here we are, we're at 100th of a second. And then we did another 2 stops below that, which is at a 400th of a second. So are they 2 stops or stops? Sorry, it's 100. Yeah, getting on for 2 stops. So how do we make this work? Well, as you can see in this first shot where we're doing a very bright exposure, I'm going to stay away from the word overexposing. In the first bracketed shot, we're shooting for this detail in here. We want to see what's going on in here. The next shot, which was the average of all over, we're really just taking average for the concrete and the graffiti and that sort of stuff. In this area now, it's going pretty dark. If we pop back to histogram to have a look, you see that highlight is completely clipped and burnt away. In the overall average, it's still clipped. Do you see that we just got shadow data, and you might be able to rescue it here in Lightroom. You can see these haven't had stuff done to them. But it's an uncertain thing. Exercise the pre-visualizing muscle with dynamic range, because I was pretty sure it wouldn't capture it, and I was particularly need to be careful because it wasn't my camera, I don't know it. Then this dark image here, we're exposing, really we want to capture this data in this little area here. So the HDR is then a blend of these, taking the shadow detail from this one, we're taking the concretey mid-range detail from this one, and we're taking the highlight detail from this one. They're blended together in Lightroom, and we end up with this one here. So that is what we were looking for, and that's how it worked. Now, I'm not going into how you photo merge in Lightroom, but because that's in my 7 Steps to Perfect Pictures Lightroom course, and I'm sure it's all over the internet in a million different places. I wanted to show you that because that is why I bracketed that shot when I took it. It's about understanding your camera and dynamic range. Bracketing, if you're just bracketing because you're not sure how, if you'll get the exposure right, you're not sure how to do it, well, okay, I understand that in the beginning, and you're shooting JPEGs and stuff, but really bracketing is about ensuring your pre-visualization for the image can be captured in the raw file, and you can then bring it to life and make it look the way you want it to look, make it real. So guys, I hope you found that useful. As I said at the beginning, please like, share and subscribe. It helps me make more videos, and you can always go to my website and sign up to the newsletter. Take care, leave us some comments and questions, and I'll see you next time.